We have made significant progress under the direction of President Trump, working with state and local officials here in Minnesota, and I expect that to increase in the coming weeks. We continue to have discussions. I'll have discussions this afternoon. We currently have an unprecedented number of counties communicating with us now and allowing ICE to take custody of illegal aliens before they hit the streets. Unprecedented cooperation.
Unprecedented cooperation. Our border czar, Tom Homan, in Minneapolis, holding a press conference this morning, announcing that he will be pulling out 700. He didn't say agents. He says personnel. He says 700 personnel pulling him out. He said because now he's getting unprecedented cooperation from the state Democrats who are pro-crime and local law enforcement officials in Minneapolis and St. Paul and counties around the once great state of Minnesota. Now kind of the Mogadishu of the Midwest. But Tom Homan announcing a drawdown of 700 personnel out of Minnesota because there's a lot of good stuff happening there with cooperation now. The left calls it collaboration because they're Nazis, they're fascists. You know how they're got a lot of mental issues. But that is kind of a big deal, I've got to say. Yes, it is. And you know what else is a big deal? The Melinda Gates news. You know, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I think they broke it up and now it's just the Melinda Gates Foundation or something like that. But she wants the billions and billions and billions. But there's a crazy story that has come out of the Jeffrey Epstein documents. Jeffrey Epstein documents going right to Bill Gates. Bill Gates. Now, the headline from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, in quotation marks, unbelievable sadness. That's in quotation marks. Melinda Gates reacts to claims against ex-husband. They're not married anymore. She only got tens of billions of dollars. How is she going to muddle through? Remarkable stuff. But Melinda Gates reacts to allegations against ex-husband Bill Gates in new Epstein files. That's right. There are more Epstein files. And here it is. Melinda French Gates says her ex-husband Bill Gates needs to answer for his behavior alleged in the latest batch of Jeffrey Epstein files released by the U.S. Department of Justice in a series of emails written by Jeffrey Epstein in 2013. The now deceased, the late sex offender, claims that Bill Gates, Mr. Gates, contracted a sexually transmitted disease, an STD, got an STD, sexually transmitted disease, and sought to secretly give his then wife, Melinda, antibiotics. This is kind of a wacky story. You didn't know this story? This is a wild story. A spokesperson for Mr. Bill Gates rejected the claims as absolutely absurd and completely false. But here are the emails. And, you know, there's one thing that Jeffrey Epstein would know something about, I think, sexually transmitted diseases and the poor young ladies. But this was apparently a Russian professional woman, if you will. Melinda French Gates has spoken out for the first time since new claims emerged about her ex-husband, Bill Gates, after the release of files from a U.S. government investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. In an interview with NPR, National Panhandler Radio's Wild Card podcast on Tuesday, taxpayer-funded, by the way, Ms. French Gates said that she felt unbelievable sadness. That's what she said when she learned of the allegations contained in the roughly 3 million pages, not all about Bill Gates, though, released by the U.S. Justice Department last week. For me, she said, it's personally hard whenever details come up because it brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage. How painful? How painful were they? Whatever questions remain there, I can't even begin to know all of it. Those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. Now, here's the way the story goes, you see. They need to answer for those things, not me, said Melinda Gates. who's the wealthiest ex-wife perhaps on earth, or one of them certainly. Microsoft billionaire founder Bill Gates is among many influential people, a Democrat mentioned by name in Epstein's personal communications. The ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, is in the process of reviewing the files. Being named or pictured in the files does not imply wrongdoing or criminal activity. Their lawyers wrote that line for them. But here's the story about this, that Bill Gates was involved in a sexual arrangement with a woman not his wife, And I believe that the woman was Russian, a Russian woman, because they're very international people. They're Davos, international globalists. So boink, boink, wherever you may. But listen to this. In one email sent to himself in 2013, Jeffrey Epstein appears to suggest that Mr. Gates contracted a sexually transmitted disease and sought to secretly give his then-wife, Melinda, antibiotics. Now, here's the thing. It's like, hey, Jeffrey, I got a major case of the scabies here. I think that was before monkeypox. So it had to be before the Democrats spread monkeypox everywhere. So it had to be some other sexually transmitted disease. And an STD, and they like to call them STIs also. That's not, an anti-missile defense. STI, it's sexually transmitted infection. They like that versus sexually transmitted disease these days. But Jeffrey Epstein said in the email that he was dismayed that Mr. Gates was ending their friendship over the accident. He called it an accident. And he said, we're ending our friendship. To add insult to injury, you then implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD, your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, his wife there, and the description of your penis. That's what he wrote, because you got the description and then you got the sexually transmitted diseases. And he asked, according to Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates asked Jeffrey Epstein for antibiotics, you know what kind, because, to surreptitiously, to secretly slip to his wife to cure her of the sexually transmitted diseases that were perhaps communicated to Melinda by Bill because of the loving relationship that existed at the time. But isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. From helping Bill to get drugs in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls, there it is, to facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, to being asked to provide Adderall from bridge tournaments. Adderall for bridge tournaments? I don't quite get that. Okay. As a result, Jeffrey Epstein wrote that he had decided to resign from a role that he had with the Gates Foundation and BG3, Bill Gates 3, a think tank founded by Bill Gates, and that he got caught up in a severe marital dispute between Melinda and Bill. Well, with the secret surreptitious antibiotics because of the STDs, I guess that could cause a bump in the road in an otherwise blissful marriage, wouldn't you think? Oh, sorry, honey, I've been slipping you antibiotics because of my personal conduct when you weren't looking. A spokesperson for Bill Gates rejected the claim as absolutely absurd and completely false. And here are the emails. Here are the documents. The only thing these documents demonstrate is Epstein's frustration that he did not have an ongoing relationship with Gates and the lengths he would go to entrap and defame. Also not completely out of the question, of course. And, entrapping and defaming and all that crazy stuff, I gotta say. But there it is. That's a pretty crazy story. Hey, Bill, how's everything going with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation? Not as good as last week, I got to say.
Apparently, Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. Was he trying to attack me in some way? But, it just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
Yeah, because it's all perfectly normal. And Bill Gates, he probably was not a real charmer and romancer in high school or even in college. But after he made his first billion, that probably worked itself out, I'm guessing. Because, all right, let's see. We got more. I haven't gotten to Jerry Nadler yet, Jerry Wadler, the fascists that you should shoot and kill. Jerry Nadler, the Democrats, they're not good neighbors, I think. Let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Brad calling from Key West, Florida, beautiful Key West, Florida. Bradley, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Once again, thank you so much, and praise to Barbara Hands. I worked in AM radio in West Palm for 5 years, so I know time is God. Anyways, I wanted to mention that NFL-wise, I stopped watching the NFL back when Beyonce did her racist halftime show. From then on, I said no more. I mean, the Bears in '85 were amazing, but no more NFL for me.
Wow, no kidding.
Talking.
Not at all. Yeah, I got to tell you, I gave up on him. I gave up on him for a few years too, when the statistics were like, 3 receptions, 2 fumbles, 4 arrests, 2 convictions, felony assaults. And all the, when you start building in their criminal records. And years ago, I gave up on the NFL. And I got to say, just a couple of years ago, I kind of went back to the NFL. And I like to have the game on, and I'm not too crazy about, and you're right about the Bears and I just watched the Super Bowl Shuffle on the internet about a week ago from the great, the Bears and McMahon and the Fridge and Walter Payton.
That was a great team.
Yeah, that was great stuff going on. There's a guy in Washington, D.C. whose license plate is 85 Bears.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got 2 questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One, when Obama was leaving office, I heard one story, and I've never heard it ever since, that he was doing training classes 6 weeks long to train people to be agitators and community organizers. Have you heard anything about it?
I cannot say that I have heard any. I may have heard something. Obama. He's a community organizer. That's what he was. Then he was a nothing, do nothing backbench senator for a minute, and then he became president because of his melanin levels and his funny name. And but listen, the Democrats have set up all kinds of organizations, and I have no doubt that Obama was behind some of it, certainly, with his rules for radicals upbringing. And, the picture of him supposed to be teaching law in Chicago, and he's teaching Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals on the chalkboard anyway. And he is, they're all about, organizing the next generation to destroy the United States and destroy the world. So,
exactly.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put it past him, but he probably had proxies doing it to keep it at least a little bit arm's length. Now,
you mentioned something else.
Yeah.
And that was about him becoming senator. And you know how that happened, right?
Sure, yeah. The Democrats were, well, and then, when he left his Senate seat, then the Democrats went to sell it in Illinois.
No, wait. He was running against a white guy from Winnetka, and he was married to that female actress that appeared on Deep Space Nine. I can't remember her name at the moment, but she claimed that he took her to strip clubs and made her feel really bad, and he had to drop out of the race, and that's how Obama got his Senate seat.
Well, that's true, too. That is, I'm blanking on the guy's name right now, but and it's a little more than
Ryan.
that. Say what?
Ryan.
Ryan, that's right. And Jack Ryan. And the story was that he took his wife to these clubs that are kind of sex clubs, and he had sex with his own wife in public settings. And then when this was discovered, I think Jack Ryan said, "Hey, wait a minute. So what you're accusing me of is having sex with my own wife?" And they said, well, yeah, that is what we're accusing you of. And you may remember that Larry Sinclair, a man, then came forward and said that he had been having sex with Barack Obama in motel rooms where they were doing cocaine and having sex in limousines, the two men, Larry Sinclair and Barack Obama. And that didn't affect him negatively at all. That didn't impact him negatively at all. And the guy, Larry Sinclair, held a press conference in Washington. The news media buried it, didn't report it. But you're right. Jack Ryan was accused of, and he almost mocked it. He said, so my crime here is that I'm having sex with my own wife in an inappropriate location.
Yeah, but she's a Hollywood starlet, and Hollywood was behind her doing this.
Oh, you think that Jack Ryan was set up? I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, interesting. Well, Hollywood still had so much to say about this. I got to tell you, the Democrats lead us into a lot of inappropriate conversations for family consumption, don't they? Those rascally Democrats. I got to tell you. Brad, thank you. Fun call. Yeah, they're nutty, those Democrats. Oh, let's return to the telephones, Mike. Let's go to David calling from Cape Cod in Massachusetts. Gesundheit. David, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris. I have another local update for you because you brought up Bill Gates before, and It was so great. And so back in the late 70s and the 80s when he was at MIT, right, he was a very prominent figure in the combat zone at the time. Do you remember what the combat zone was in Boston?
It's the bars and, how shall I say...
more than that.
Houses of ill repute neighborhood.
The worst. You're right. That's where all the films came out at the time and all of that. So Bill Gates, he was a regular there. Like every Fridays, he didn't have class and showed up. And the wonderful Howie Carr here at WRKO has talked about this for years. And it's so funny that finally Bill Gates is exposed at the national level when we all knew at the time that he's a psycho.
Yeah, again, I'm thinking he's a guy who was not charming the ladies when he was a young man in high school and in college. And then suddenly he was a billionaire, and everything changed for Bill Gates, I'm thinking.
And especially when you have a boat.
A boat, yeah, and that's 300 feet. It's good.
That changes everything.
It does. It makes you much more handsome, having a yacht with a heliport and a swimming pool. I don't want to be, but, I think chicks dig that. Boy, oh boy, and I have my mailbag questions right in front of me. In my hand, I have them. Now, you may recall the Grammys the other night where the Democrats gathered to give out awards to each other, to themselves. It's a frequent tradition, actually. But the Billie Eilish, she is a songstress of sorts, and she was at the Grammys the other night, and I guess she won an award because somebody had to. Billie, and she said something crazy. We played it for you a couple of days ago, but here is Billie Eilish, songstress, at the Grammys the other night. I don't think she was being intentionally ironic. She apparently lives in a $14 million house and a very exclusive, safe, secure neighborhood in the greater Los Angeles metroplex. And here is Billie Eilish. I won an award. I'm going to say something stupid.
As grateful as I feel, I honestly don't feel like I need to say anything, but that no one is illegal on stolen land.
Woo! Woo! No one is illegal on stolen land. That'd be all of Latin America, too, by the way. That would be 100% of South America and Central America and Mexico and, the Incans and the Mayans and the child sacrifices. Of course, we still have the child sacrifices, as we know. The Democrat Party loves child sacrifices by the millions. and they really care about people. Billie Eilish's stolen land rant blows up because, listen to this, versus Tongva tribe, the Tongva tribe, a Native American tribe, Tongva. The Tongva tribe says her mansion sits on its land. Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding her property. You shouldn't call it her property. You should call it your property. The Native American tribe, whose ancestral land includes Billie Eilish's Los Angeles mansion, has something to say about her Grammys virtue signaling when she, the singer, declared, "No one is illegal on stolen land." What is stolen? Ukraine is stolen land. Do you know that? And they're all supporters of Ukraine. And they're all supporters of Greenland at their No Kings rallies. They have no kings, no kings. Then they come out and they support the king and the queen, of course, of Denmark, owning Greenland. They're Danish, and they own Greenland. And the Democrats are vociferously defending the rights of the kings, the monarchs in Europe, and their ownership of colonial properties like Greenland, because they're idiots and they're fascists. But nevertheless, the Native American tribe whose ancestral land includes Billie Eilish's Los Angeles mansion has something to say about her Grammys virtue signaling. Declared no one is illegal on stolen land. As the first people of the greater Los Angeles basin, we do understand that her home is situated in our ancestral land. Is it an ancestral burial ground? Because it's always better if it is. It's you got the caskets come up. It's like poltergeist, A spokesperson for the Tongva tribe told the Daily Mail in the United Kingdom, noting that the singer had not yet reached out regarding the ownership rights of her $3 million Hollywood Hills home. I think it's worth a lot more than that. Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding her property. We do value the instance when public figures provide visibility to the true history of this country. You guys kind of lived there, did you? You pound a stake in the ground or something with a rock? Because there it is. It is our hope that in future discussions, the tribe can explicitly be referenced to ensure the public understands that the greater Los Angeles basin remains Gabrielino Tongva territory. That's pretty good. Gabrielino Tongva property. Those are not recognizable words. The 24-year-old singer has been mocked and called a hypocrite ever since the Grammys, spouting her leftist talking points during the award show on Sunday night. And honestly, now, this came up yesterday in a hearing on Capitol Hill because it turns out that Senator Ted Cruz had a couple of what do you call them? Network media executives, right? Had some media executives. Ted Cruz had David Zaslav, the CEO of the Warner Brothers and Discovery, and let's say they're looking at buying Netflix, right? It's a $72 billion cash offer or something like that. But Ted Cruz was there with a couple of media CEOs, and he asked them, well, wait a minute, because you guys are Los Angeles people. Here's Ted Cruz talking to the couple of, it's David Zaslav and Ted Sarandos, the Netflix CEO, Ted Sarandos, and the HBO, Warner Brothers, whatever, David Zaslav. And they're on Capitol Hill yesterday. And Ted Cruz said, hey, the Grammys a couple of nights ago, nobody's illegal on stolen land, according to your dim-witted songstress. And what do you guys think? You think that we're on stolen land? So here's Ted Cruz and these two media executives, Ted Sarandos and David Zaslav.
I want to ask, did either of y'all watch the Grammys this week?
I did not. Just the tail end of
it. One simple question.
I did not.
Are we right now on stolen land?
I have no idea the history of this land, of where we're sitting today.
They laughed.
Nor do I, Senator.
So that speaks volumes that neither of you are willing to say, hell no, we're not on stolen land. And I will say at the Grammys, when you see an entertainer say, nobody is illegal while we're on stolen land, and then you see entertainers leap to their feet clapping so excitedly at the notion that America is fundamentally illegitimate, it starts to convey that the entertainment world is deeply corrupt. And I will point out that same singer who says no one is illegal on stolen land promptly went back to her $14 million mansion, and somehow that stolen land she wasn't concerned about, just the United States of America.
Well, she bought that stolen. She paid for that with her ill-gotten gains because she's a songstress, and there you go. That's all fine, right? Ted Cruz uses Billie Eilish's Stolen Land Grammy speech to grill Netflix CEO over $57 billion Warner merger at Senate hearing. Every time I look at the dollar figure, it's a different dollar figure. Maybe it's a secret. $72 billion, $74 billion, $57 billion. It's a lot of money anyway you slice it, I think. The intersection of celebrity activism and corporate consolidation reached a boiling point on Capitol Hill this week as U.S. Senator Ted Cruz utilized Billie Eilish's viral Grammy acceptance speech to launch a scathing attack on the corrupt nature of the entertainment industry during a Senate Judiciary hearing on Tuesday, February 3rd. That's yesterday. That's why we're playing it. Ted Cruz grilled Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos and arguing that silence of major studio regarding the Politico virtue signaling is proof of monopolistic cultural alignment. That's all true, of course. And the hearing primarily focused on the antitrust implications of Netflix proposed $72 billion, there's another number, acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery Studio assets quickly pivoted into a referendum on Hollywood's social influence. And so there it is, but you got these, you guys going to go around saying nobody's illegal on stolen land? These people, I got to tell you, what's the matter with these people?
The Democratic National Committee wishes to acknowledge that our country was built on indigenous lands and hope.
Somebody had to build something. Yeah, that's it's true. We did more than dig a hole. That's true. Not a very deep hole. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. Womp, womp, womp. I am telling you. Yes, sir. We've got let's go to Jerry Nadler, because Democrat Congressman Jerry Nadler from New York, known as Wadler, because he has, for the overwhelming majority of his life, been morbidly obese. And he's famous for eating everything within arm's length. He really has been for decades and decades. I think he went on one of these, he got a lap band surgery or something like that. But Jerry Nadler suggests Americans, left-wing radicals at Mediaite, Jerry Nadler suggests Americans would be justified shooting masked attackers, he's talking about ICE agents, federal agents, in rant against Trump's, quote, ICE goons. New York Democrat Representative Jerry Nadler argued Americans would be justified shooting ICE agents if they believed there were masked hoodlums attacking them and not one of the government's goons, as he put it. Democratic lawmaker made the eyebrow-raising statements during a House Judiciary Committee hearing on Tuesday. And here's Jerry Nadler inciting civil war, as the Democrats are wont to do.
But what is really the major problem in this country today is the fascism in our streets. The attacks on American citizens.
Fascist.
By masked hoodlums.
Nazi.
If you were attacked by a masked person, you might think you were being kidnapped. You'd be justified in shooting the person to protect yourself.
Yeah, you might think you're being kidnapped when the people pull up in the government vehicle and get out with the helmet and the body armor that says police across the chest and the badge, and then all the equipment around the bat belt and the two-way radio with the handheld going up to the shoulder on the epaulette, and you might think you're being kidnapped. And then you'd be justified in shooting them, because who wouldn't be justified in shooting them? Oh, no, I thought I was being kidnapped. you're an illegal alien, criminal, human trafficker, drug dealer, and you're being arrested by the police. And if you shoot them, then we're going to gun down your whole family and blow up your house. But never mind that. Not really. I just made that part up. Jerry Nadler, there he is. And yeah, because you can't even tell that they're cops because Democrats are all incredibly ignorant and stupid, like Jerry Nadler. But there he is. The problem is the fascism. The biggest problem in America today is the fascism in our streets. Little Hitler, he's Jewish, so it's funnier when you call him Hitler and things like that. So Jerry Nadler, there he is. He's inciting violence against the federal government. Jerry Nadler wasn't done.
We see people being shot for what? For driving a car?
Yeah, driving a car.
You see the ICE goons break into people's homes without a warrant.
Yeah.
You see them drag out a man, an American citizen, in his underwear without even permitting him in the snow, without even permitting him to get dressed.
Oh, you mean the house that...
this is the major problem we have today.
That's the major problem that we have today. Now, you are a cancerous polyp, but on the body politic of the United States of America. So what, you shoot him for what? For driving a car? You must be referring to Renee Good, who was speeding her car at a federal law enforcement agent and crashed into him. There's video of it. The Democrats deny it because they look at a different video in order to maintain their ignorance. And then when you play the video and the audio where you're going to hear, we've played it for you here, where the car driven by Renee Good crashes into a federal agent who may have been a minority, and that would make her racist, wouldn't it? Because she's got white privilege and all that stuff. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. I'm telling you. So Jerry Nadler, yeah, for what? For driving a car? No, for racing a car at a federal law enforcement agent after disobeying police orders to get out of the car while she was parked sideways across the street, blocking federal law enforcement from carrying out their duties and arresting illegal aliens who are committing crimes that are illegal. But never mind that. In New Mexico, they have a Democrat in Congress, the Congress of the United States of America, named Teresa Leger Fernandez. And she's a Democrat. She was protesting outside the ICE headquarters yesterday, and she's very angry because it's racist.
Women, especially Latinas, and Asian American women and women of color are not safe in Trump's America. We're not safe walking down the street, not driving home, not when masked men jump out of their car to smash your car window.
Right, because that's what's going on. And Jerry Nadler talked about a man pulled out of his house. That's the house where the two child rapists that are illegal aliens were living. And when the police went there to serve a warrant, their roommate, not the illegal alien child rapist, was there, and they say, where are your roommates? And he was not cooperative, and he was pulled outside. And that's because he was about to be arrested. But the Democrats are. And then this is a member of Congress, Teresa Leger Fernandez, at a protest at ICE headquarters. Yeah, women, especially Latinas and Asian women and women of color. How many different categories have you guys sliced and diced yourselves into? Yeah, are you racist enough? Do you all have separate graduations and separate times? You know, the black graduation, the Asian graduation, the Latina graduation. You guys should get over yourselves. Everything you say is antithetical to the very idea of the United States of America. E pluribus unum. They are, of course, unum e pluribus. From one, we become many, fragmented, fractured. They're here to destroy the culture. They're not on Team America. The Democrat Party is very much in the news. Yesterday, you may have seen that Democrat by the name of Tyler Robinson, who assassinated Charlie Kirk using a rifle, shoot him through the neck and kill him. The alleged Charlie Kirk shooter, Tyler Robinson, appears in court. Sure. to try and toss prosecutors' office from the case. Yeah, because one of the lawyers in the prosecutor's office had a child that was on the campus at the time of the shooting. So they're going to try to use that to dismiss everything, but it won't work. But yesterday, the assassin, a Democrat assassin, murderer, Tyler Robinson, who murdered Charlie Kirk, appeared in court. And today in court, another Democrat would-be assassin, Ryan Ruth, who was convicted of trying to assassinate Donald Trump at his golf course in Florida, is scheduled to be sentenced today. He's been found guilty. The man charged trying to assassinate Donald Trump, not to be confused with the man that tried to assassinate Donald Trump in Pennsylvania and shot President Trump through the ear and then was killed by a Secret Service counter sniper. Man charged with trying to assassinate Donald Trump when he was running for president in 2024, which time is set to be sentenced in a Florida courtroom Wednesday. That's today. Last fall, a jury convicted Ryan Ruth for his planned attempt on Trump's life when the then presidential candidate was golfing at his club in West Palm Beach, Florida. Prosecutors are asking U.S. District Judge Eileen Kennan to impose a life sentence. Now, 2 days, 2 courtrooms, 2 Democrat political assassins, keeping in mind that the Democrats have assassinated a great many people and shot, for political reasons, a great many people over the years, starting with the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, because he took the Democrats' slavery away from them and the slaves. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that yesterday we had one Democrat, and not to be confused with Luigi Mangione, who assassinated the CEO walking on a sidewalk in New York because, he's angry with health care or insurance companies or capitalism or something like that. Luigi Mangione is a hero of the Democrat Party. They'll want their daughters to date him in prison. And then Tyler Robinson, another Democrat, killed Charlie Kirk. And then we've got Ryan Ruth, the second guy that tried to assassinate Donald Trump. And this is all normal because of Democrats.